Hi there, this is Jing. In this series, we are going to dive into the world of Partimento, the art of classical improvisation. This course was created with beginners in mind, interested learners who at least have an ample amount of knowledge on musical concepts, musical notation, and have the ability to locate notes on the keyboard. If you are an advanced learner of the art and you want a more theoretical and detailed approach to this topic, you may want to check out the resource links provided in the description box below. Without delay, let's begin. Developed in Italy during the late 17th century, with renowned figures such as Alessandro Scarlatti, Francesco Durante, and Fedele Fenaroli, Partimento was used and is still being used today as a practical method to teach counterpoint, composition, and ultimately improvisation. Partimento was mainly developed for harpsichords and its variants, as it was perhaps the most convenient instrument for accompaniment during the time period. In addition, Partimento was taught by musicians who were masters of the keyboard. A Partimento piece is comprised of two parts: a numbered bass line or basso continuo, and an improvised treble line called a realization. Here's an example of a bass line. Here's the bass line with a realization. Since realizations are improvisations, one realization of a bass line can differ from another depending on the knowledge and skill of the musician. Here's another example of the same bass line, but of a different realization. In order to produce good-sounding music, realizations must abide certain rules to be in harmony with the bass line. Before we turn to the rules, one must know some annotations that are employed. The tones in the bass line are annotated using numbers inscribed inside circles. These numbers move depending on the key of the piece. Take, for example, in the key of C major. Each note in the sequence C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and so on are assigned numbers. The home note C is called the prime. D is the major second, or just the second. E is the major third, or just the third. F is the fourth. G is the fifth. A is the major sixth, or just the sixth. B is the major seventh, or just the seventh. Although one may continue numbering notes past seventh, it is more practical to restart with the prime, as it is technically the same tone, but an octave higher. It is, however, a good practice to locate the ninth, because it is an inevitable problem that will have to be resolved later on. Observe that the ninth is just the second, but an octave higher. Another example is in the key of E flat major. In the sequence E flat, F, G, A flat, and so on, the home note E flat gets the prime. F is the second, G is the third, A flat is the fourth, and so on. The ninth is just the second F, but an octave higher. There will be a lot of times that we may want to use other notes aside from what is found in the key, possibly to use them as modulation tools or embellishments. The note between the prime and the second is a minor second. The note between the second and the third is called a minor third. The note between the fourth and the fifth is either called an augmented fourth or a diminished fifth. Between the fifth and the sixth is called a minor sixth. Finally, the note between a sixth and a seventh is called a minor seventh. The preference of using flats over sharps roots back to the use of church modes, as key signatures weren't as established during the time period. One exception is the augmented fourth, a remnant of the Lydian mode. Like the ninth, it imposes future technicalities that will have to be resolved. These are all but annotation tools and naming conventions that will systematically help us analyze and produce tuneful realizations in all keys. In order to master these concepts on your own, try to identify the tone distributions and their names in all keys. And that is it for this episode. See you again next month.